You know, I've been doing this a while, and the one thing that I can tell you can never get enough of is wisdom. I don't know half as much as I need to know to get on the charts next week, next year, this year. So what I do is years ago I had a house in Hickman County. I had a log house. Anybody from Hickman County? Thank goodness. I could tell right away because they had their teeth and everything. But I wanted a storage shed, you know, and my dad could build things, so it had to be in my genes. So I bought all the brackets and all the nails and all the screws and the 2x6s and the sheets of plywood, and by golly, I'm gonna make my own shed. It took me 3 months to build this shed, and it looked like butt. And it leaked, but I built it, by goodness. But then a year later, I wanted to build another shed, so I thought, man, I don't know anything about building sheds, and back then there wasn't any YouTube and stuff. So I hired some guys to come build a shed, and they drop the lumber off at night. The next morning, they start working on it, right? And by 11:30, starting at 8 o'clock, that shed was done. And these guys knocked it out. Bang, bang, boom, knocked it out. Why am I telling you this? Because if you want to be a better songwriter, you get with better songwriters, right? I used to be a personal trainer. I used to train with the biggest and the best WWF guys in the world. They taught me how to get in shape and how to do everything right. It's not about lifting weights. So get with the best people you can. Get with the best vocal coach you can. Get with the best video coach you can. Get with the best media consultant you can. All right? So you want to get better at that. So before you get out here, I'm going to give you a couple quick tips and stuff. Have you ever had this incredible line come out and you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest line I've ever written? All right? So you write this line, and it's like, let's say your rhyme scheme is, this line is A, this line is A, and this line is B. Meaning these two lines rhyme, and this line rhymes with the next third line down. So every third line is going to rhyme. A, B, B. And that first B line is just a mofo. It's the best thing you ever came up with. You know that without a doubt it's the best line you're ever going to write. Well, maybe it is. But the problem is, the next time you come up to rhyme in that little pocket right there, the next segment, nothing rhymes with it. And so what do? You cheat. And you cheat your song, you cheat yourself, you cheat your craft, and you cheat your public that want to listen to your records. Because you come up with a BS line because it rhymes. Right? And you sell out the song because you had this great line. You didn't want to lose it. Right? So here's what you do. You hit delete. When you get to that line right there, you back completely out of your word and you erase that line completely, pretend it never happened, or take that line, copy and paste it, bring it down, stick it somewhere in the middle of the song at the bottom of the page that you haven't even touched yet, and use that for a bridge, use it for part of your chorus, or maybe it's a title for a whole other song. But don't get stuck on that one line right there, okay? So back that line out, and then do this. This is really cool. Say what you want to say. All right? So don't worry about the poetry end of it. Just say what you want to say, okay? And I'm going to give you something to think about. I don't want any answers. If you come back on June 11th, we'll go through it. But don't shout it out if you have an answer, okay? Just keep it to yourself. And this is the question. What rhymes with orange? Okay? Think about that. And if you come out on June 11th, bring some answers with you. And I'm going to give you one more quick tip, okay? Anybody in here know how to paint a house? Anybody know how to paint? And house painter's good. So if you're painting a house, you can use one of these guys right here, okay? You can use a pretty wide brush, probably something bigger than this if you're painting a barn. Now, if you're painting a landscape, you got...
How small was it?
One of these guys, right? Songs are the same way. We're not painting barns, we're painting landscapes. Really small, detailed lines, all right? Quick example. My great-grandfather was really cool. He was old, but I liked him a lot. What size paintbrush are we using there? Big or little?
Big.
Big.
Big is right, all right. So my great-grandfather was really cool, but I liked him a lot. All right. So the small detail of the paintbrush says, he wore a starched white shirt buttoned at the neck. His teeth were all gone, but what the heck, I thought he walked on water. Y'all see the difference? Are you there? Do you see that picture? You want to draw your people in. You want to have lines that people go, gosh, he's been reading my mail. He knows exactly where I grew up. Up there in that little back bedroom is where I did homework and learned to play guitar. And I bet you didn't know, underneath that live oak, is what? One of my favorite dogs is buried in the yard. Did y'all go, aww, when you heard that line? Because you know somebody that had done something like that. So, two things. One, detailed pictures, and come up with lines that touch people, right? You have two choices out there, Shocking Wall, 5150 Red Solo Cup, or songs that really touch people, like The House That Built Me, okay? Everything in between is just practice, okay? Anything outside of that box is just practice. You either have a monster title of a monster song, or you have a monster song that just touches people and knocks them out. Everything else in between is just practice. And that's good. But it's not going to make the charts unless you are in that A team of writers out there that are knocking it out right now and can get away with it instead. And we'll be back on June 11th, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
One of the things that's interesting about this business is that the crafting of songs hasn't changed. Now the syncopation, the melodies and things may get a little different, but the guys and the gals that know what it takes to put that stuff in, that's where your education. Start going to the Sunday nights at the Bluebird. Start going to these nights where you see these writers and go become a student. Too many times people think that we all want to hear what's going on in your mind. Not just yet. But it doesn't mean that we won't. So I encourage you, get better. One of the writing things, and those that have been here before know I share this, is if I get an opportunity, somebody says to me, hey, I've got a friend, his name's Bernie Nelson, and you get a chance to go write with him. The worst thing that you can do is show up with just your guitar and your laptop and expect Bernie to give you his hook or his melody. Wrong. If you want an opportunity to impress someone like that, what I want you doing every day, 7 days. First day, think of a title and write every word, phrase, association that goes with that title for 5 minutes and then put it down. And the next day, you hear somebody say something and you like it, write it down and then write everything that goes along with that. I know when Bernie and I were talking, he goes, if it's the fireman, hose, alarm, you know, everything that goes along with this, write all those words down. Then the next page. Well, at the end of 7 days, you've got 7 great ideas, because unless these guys are creepers, they're not thinking like 16 and 17 and 18-year-old girls. Okay, so you're going to bring those thoughts and those ideas to a craftsman, a master craftsman, who's going to help you put these things together. A lot of people, when Taylor would write, she would have almost everything done, and then Liz would come and she would just start moving stuff. A lot of times, young people tend to want to say too much. The craftsman can help you condense it down and paint the little pretty stuff on it. So I love something that he does. It's called Weekend at Bernie's, where you can come in and hang out and write on the weekends. You know, there's a lot of these master craftsmen that are out there. So start writing and co-writing with people at your level. Don't expect to come to town and just because I know Marv Green, I'm not going to hook you up with Marv the first time because you're not ready, and that'll be a grand opening and a grand closing. What I would rather do is you guys, as you're making connections here and you're networking, start writing together and get good at it. And keep writing together and get good at it. And don't waste that opportunity with the master craftsman until you're ready. Because a lot of us can get that meeting or get that time and they'll do a favor. Don't call in your favors before you're ready. That's just another bit of advice that I would highly encourage you to do. Also, too, I was going to mention earlier on the performance thing, unless it's a hit songwriter, you don't have to always give credit to every single person you ever wrote the song with. It's just, they don't know who they are, so it's just blabber at that point. You know, this is a song that I wrote or a song that I co-wrote, and you can go into it at that point. But I know in the rounds, a lot of people tend to do that. But if you get a chance to perform, know that you're not in a round and they want to hear you sing. They don't really get much into that part. One of the things that we're really excited about is the fact that a lot of you come here with questions and you've been able to get those questions answered, and we've been excited about that. One of the things that Eric, raise your hand. Eric's my partner in the music industry blueprint. I'm the guy that talks forever, and he's the guy that says you forgot to talk about this. And he always makes sure that we get things. A lot of people were coming up and asking us the wrong questions. The question I always get, and I think, Jerry, you probably get this too, being in the business as long as you have, would you listen to this song and tell me if my kid has what it takes to make it in this business? That's like me throwing one perfect pass to Aaron Rodgers and saying, do I have what it takes to be a quarterback in the NFL? Well, I just threw a perfect pass. Well, can you read defenses? No. Those aren't the questions that you should be asking right now. You should be asking, what is it that I can learn from you to help better my person's chances? What can we be doing to better our opportunities if that door gets open or an opportunity is presented to us? The worst thing that you can do is be seen too quick or be heard before you're ready. Because right now, as you've noticed, it's very crowded in this town. It's a very humbling town. People are looking for reasons to say no. It's easier and safer that way. A lot of you know the Florida-Georgia line story. No one had room. It's amazing what 100,000 downloads 8 months later made room. Everybody wanted them at that point. Now they're about to have their second #1 song, a couple million albums. So, you know, it's amazing what happens when you go out and do it yourself. In this town, you're going to want to try to impress people to get them to invest their money in you. Let's see that you're making some investments in yourself first. Let's see that you're doing the network and you're out there working online and you're out there commenting to people. One of the things that Eric and I put together is we call it the Ultimate Artist Toolkit. And basically what it is we have the first video. It's us, and it's the stupidest thing because both of us hate being on video. I'm a radio guy. Face for radio, you ever heard the thing? It's exactly what it is. On the radio, I can be 185 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes, but shit, I'm in person now, so you know that's not true. So Eric and I are sitting at this table, Larry King style, asking each other questions, the questions that you should be asking. So we have these 4 videos. The first one is branding, social media, how to get your website and your social sites to work together. Because, you know, AOL just shut down. AOL's a pretty big company, but guess what? AOL Music is not here anymore. That can happen to Facebook and Twitter or YouTube at any time. And if that's the only way you've been communicating with your fans, your audience, you're screwed. You need to build a list. But it can't be called a list because nobody wants to be on a list. They want to be part of a community. So we're going to teach you how to communicate with your fans and build that community. The second video on there is what you should be spending your money on at this time. Depending on what stage you're at, we teach that. The third video, which is the most popular, is what you shouldn't be spending your money on right now. There's a lot of people that are doing $40,000 and $50,000 records when their voice is going to change in 2 years, or they're doing $5,000 photo shoots and their look is going to change next year. So we're recording records that we shouldn't record. We're taking photo shoots that we shouldn't take. We're getting videos done by so-and-so just because he did so-and-so's, and then we're going out and chasing a radio single because we think we wrote the next greatest song in the world, but unfortunately we don't have an audience to back that. So we're going to teach you how to do all that. Fourth video that we do in this series, most people think they need a manager. Most of you can't afford a manager. A manager only makes money when you're making money. If you grossed $100,000, then your manager only made $15,000. Not a lot of people in this room as an artist grossed $100,000 last year. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get qualified people answering your questions. So we've created a video that we teach you what it is that a manager does and how to assign those roles to various people in your town. If you've got the person, we call him the grammar Nazi, that person should probably be writing your bios and your press releases and things like that. You have that cool artistic person, it's great. That's your web person. That's your graphic person. There's a lot of different people you can put in. We have a thing, how to advance shows, the questions you should be asking. Most people call and go, what time's loaded? Do we get beer? You provide a hotel room. They don't ask questions like, can we give away downloads on your Facebook page to get, you know, to drive people? Can we do these? So we teach you that. A whole bunch of different stuff. I've got links to Kevin's site for building a website. We sell that thing for $97. Comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And then if you want to advance further with us in the blueprint, which some of you are, you get to just apply that up. But what I'm going to tell you is wait till this weekend, because we're going to offer it for $47. So every couple weeks we offer it at $47. So if you get on the email list, we'll send you a link to it. It's something that I think is very important. There's a lot of things that we can teach you here, but there's a lot of things that we need to go a little further into, so we have that's made available for you as well. Doak, is there anything really super cool coming up in the next that they should be at? If you haven't signed up for the Nashville Muse yet, everybody do that.